The prayer this evening will be offered by the good delegate from Baltimore City.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Spirit of justice, God who befriends those who stand upon the constant edge of decisions, often crucial and oftentimes faced alone. We are grateful to be together on this evening during the convening of Maryland's 445th legislative session. Today we recognize and honor the life of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Our hearts are forever grateful for his commitment to justice and to speaking truth to power. Let us also remember those who, like Dr. King, put their bodies and lives on the line so that all may be free from every kind of oppression and hate. May we continue to emulate the true spirit and legacy embodied by Dr. King, and like him, be wholeheartedly committed to the eradication of injustice wherever and whenever it is called out. Dr. King went to the mountaintop. He saw the promised land where you did not have to march for your dignity, nor did you have to sing for your freedom, and there was no need for speeches to verify your humanity. That promised land was a sacred place where all of God's children, every Marylander, would stand as equals on level fertile ground. May reaching the promised land be not just a paradisal dream, but a reality that this body commits to this session and always. May it be so. Amen.
Amen. Quorum call.
Madam Speaker.
Has everyone recorded their presence? If so, the clerk will take the call. There being 131 members present, the House is now in session. Clerk will read the journal from the previous day.
Annapolis, Maryland, January the 13th, 2023.
Recognizing the Deputy Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Moves so much be considered the reading of the journal.
So ordered, petitions, memorials, and other papers. House resolution. Will the reading clerk please read the resolution in full?
Be it hereby known to all that the House of Delegates of Maryland offers its sincerest congratulations to Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated in recognition of 115 years of service, sisterhood, and your commitment to the state of Maryland. The entire membership extends best wishes on this memorable occasion and directs this resolution to be presented on the 16th day of January 2023.
Recognizing the chairman of the Ways and Means Committee.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And good evening, colleagues. Thank you. I rise tonight to discuss a very serious matter. Yesterday was a historic day. January 15th marked the 115th anniversary of the oldest Black Greek letter organization established by African-American college-educated women, Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. Founded on the campus of Howard University, January 15th, 1908, Alpha Kappa Alpha has transformed into an international service organization. Today, Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated is comprised of over 325,000 initiated members that make up our undergraduate, our college and university chapters, and our graduate chapters for those of us who are past the college and university stage. We are located in 12 countries, including the Bahamas and Dubai. Service and sisterhood have been the cornerstone of Alpha Kappa Alpha since 1908. And the 2022 to 2026 administration continues our service with the theme Soaring to Greater Heights of Service and Sisterhood. You may spot us wearing our salmon pink and our apple green. Or you may notice us wearing our 20 pearls honoring our founders. You may see us on TV like Felicia Rashad. You may see us in space like Mae Jemison. Or you may see us quietly starting movements like Rosa Parks and Coretta Scott King. You may see us putting pen to paper like Maya Angelou. Or you may find yourself mesmerized by our voices like Ella Fitzgerald. And you may even find us in the White House, like Vice President Kamala Harris. Whatever the case may be, you don't have to look too far, but be clear, wherever there is service, we are here. And I am proud to say, Madam Speaker, that we are 10 strong Alpha Kappa Alpha women in this body. Permission to use delegates' names, Madam Speaker?
Permission granted.
Madam Speaker Pro Tem Sora Cherie Sample Hughes, who is a little under the weather tonight. Madam Parliamentarian and Chair of the Legislative Black Caucus, Soror Janelle Wilkins. Delegate Soror Edith Patterson. Delegate Soror Pam Queen. Delegate Soror Terry Hill. Delegate Soror Sandy Bartlett. Delegate Soror Karen Tolles. And our newest members, Delegate Soror Kim Taylor. And Madam Speaker, you know, Delegate Soror Jennifer White. And if I may, Madam Speaker, in the spring of 1995, a young co-ed became the member of Nu Chi at the College of William & Mary, joining her grandmother, who is now a Diamond 75-year-old member, joining her mother and her great aunt, Delegate Soror Vanessa Atterbury, Chair of Ways and Means. And joining us today, we have two very, very special guests. I would like you to help us welcome our soror, Irma Barron, our 27th North Atlantic Regional Director. She oversaw the North Atlantic region, which covers 12 states from Maine to Washington, D.C., and Soror Ingrid Watson, North Atlantic Region Connection and Social Action Committee State Coordinator, member of the Prince George's County Council, District 4, and wife to our own Senator Watson. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Consent calendar of introductory House bills, number 5. The clerk will read the first bill.
House Bill 145, Delegate Frazier Hidalgo, Judiciary.
Recognizing the majority leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. So much be considered the reading of HBs 145 through HB 169.
Hearing no objections, the bills are read the first time and referred to the appropriate committees. Today, we will be hearing the Martin Luther King Jr. Day address, which will be offered by the good delegate from Charles County, C.T. Wilson.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Colleagues, guests, friends, today is a very solemn occasion at the eve of the swearing in of Maryland's first African-American governor. It's very apropos that it's also the day that we celebrate our true American heroes, the acclaimed civil rights leader. His birth is now a federal holiday. For some of you that know, and others may find out later, it is a daunting task preparing a speech to this august body. It's even more daunting to prepare a speech about Martin Luther King in this chamber where there have been people in your seats that actually walked with him. They talked to him, they knew him. They experienced the civil rights movement firsthand. It's even more daunting because generationally the civil rights movement becomes a little less understandable. There's a disconnect. The right to vote, the right to travel, the right to enter in interracial relationships, or live where I choose, I take those for granted. I don't think Dr. King would have been upset at that. But although there's a generational disconnect, I believe that Dr. King's legacy remains relevant, even my generation and subsequent. But so much has been said already, it's very difficult to find the words without repeating. So I felt the best way to do, and for those of you who know me, is I'll talk about Dr. King's impact on my life. I was born in the Ozarks in late 71, 72. I'm the oldest of 17 children. I had a white mother who was married to a white husband, but somehow they made a little brown baby. So needless to say, race is already creeping into my life. By the time I was 4 years old, I was in foster care. And while it was changed a lot, the only thing that was constant, that no matter what family, school, or town I went to, that I was the only black child. I always stood out. I was the object of scorn, and I was always alone. No matter how proper I tried to speak, I tried to straighten my hair, I was always that last child that was selected to go to any home. I was always the first to be brought back. I wasn't born in the Jim Crow era, but I was no stranger to racism. Coon, spear chucker, porch monkey, nigger. Questions about my hair, my skin, my lips, my nose, all before kindergarten. And I know they're only words, but they really have an effect on a child. Couldn't understand why kids and adults were mean to me. It bleeds your confidence because black becomes a stigmata with that weight and shame. So I started my life with my head bowed. But I remember in 5th grade, going through the history books, and I saw this man, this black man, and he wasn't a slave. He was one man, but he was portrayed, especially in those history books back in the day, as that one man. He defined a culture, attacked a misguided ideology, and he transformed a nation. He forced this country to follow its greater angels instead of its lesser demons. He was like Superman to a black boy, facing down the slings and arrows of bigotry and ignorance like it was nothing. I saw someone with my complexion in a history book, one person taking that stand. I realized being alone doesn't mean you're a failure. And I don't have to resign to hatred, mistreatment. And I can be black. And he inspired me to dream of a better life and motivated me to work for it. Now, as I got older, that's not to say things were all good, because I was still the only black kid, no matter where I went. I graduated the only black kid from my school, only black kid in my town. I was wrongfully arrested as a juvenile and as an adult. It was constant bullying in school, singled out by students and teachers. Still mistreated and alone, but now I had the courage to fight for a better tomorrow. And fight I did. After my childhood, I realized the best way for me to fight was to join the United States Army, become a trained and experienced warfighter. I learned the value of aggression. I learned to overwhelm my enemy with tactical superiority, physical dominance, martial prowess, that the best defense was the violence of action, to control any battlefield, overcome any obstacle or any opponent. I couldn't see the value in nonviolence. I mean, how do you deal with fire hoses, dogs, bats, axe handles, hate and aggression without fighting back? You know you're going to get beaten, and you can't make a fist. You allow your aggressor to control you, to assault you with no fear of retribution. To me, it was nothing more than fear of the master's whip, the actions of a slave. Yeah, the dreamer. Look what that got him. And I remember in 1993, we just got back from a very difficult mission, and we lost people. Things didn't work out the way we'd planned. I was sitting there watching the TV show, but it was February, Black History Month. It's about Martin Luther King. Let's watch it, right? None of us were in a good mood, but I listened to this reporter tell his story about Martin Luther King, and he was there videotaping, recording, as they were getting beaten coming off a bus. At some point, he set his camera down to rescue this man who was been beaten by three white men with axe handles. And he couldn't take it anymore. He set his camera down, he ran, he pulled that man out, and he probably saved his life. And Martin Luther King came up to him and he said, "How dare you? That is not your job. You save one life at the cost of thousands." They know what they're getting into. And I was silent. These cats went to battle without weapons to win a war. See, it wasn't a political ploy as I thought. And the act of nonviolence wasn't born out of fear. I learned right there it was cunning and bravery to inspire people to take on a mission greater than themselves. I get that. I was a soldier. To sacrifice, to willingly go into the breach for the greater good. I got that. To sacrifice their body and even their life for a better nation. That's every soldier's mission. But to do so with nonviolence, to get an entire group of people, that's the ultimate act of courage. And the question I had to ask myself back then was, could I have been that brave to not fight back and not use my fist? It changed my definition of bravery. As an adult now, some of y'all know me. I'm somewhat solitary, keep to myself, irascible, distant, grumpy. I don't have a lot of people around me. But realize, as a little child, one of the first things I learned that if you look to others for help and you depend on others, that's the first step on the long road to disappointment. It's much easier to handle my own failure than others not keeping their word, not staying in my life, not showing me value. Being alone, I thought, was my strongest attribute. And I was listening to my pastor last week, tell us a story about how he, a lady called him. She was on her deathbed. She wanted to talk to him. So he went and spoke with her. And she asked him the first question, who is going to do my job when I'm gone? She just kept asking, who is going to do my job when I'm gone? After about 5 minutes, the pastor's like, ma'am, I'll be honest, I don't know what your job is. And she said, from the day that you took over the church 20 years ago, I have prayed for you every day. I have fasted every Saturday for your success. And he never knew this woman's name. And I look back at the photos with Dr. King, and I realized he was never really alone. And I looked at all those people there with him. Take a look next time. When you see people being attacked with fire hoses and dogs, there's no caption with their name on it. So many names, so many unknown people. He had family, he had friends, he had organizers, he had strangers. The civil rights was a movement. These are thousands of people. It wasn't just Dr. King. They did it without accolades. They sacrificed their time, their money, even their life for this movement. all colors, creeds, races, and religion, marched, beaten, and killed in the name of civil rights. They entrusted Dr. King with their very lives. He was the tip of the spear into the heart of racial inequality and injustice. Because his dream was actually the dream of thousands and thousands of people. They allowed him to give voice to that dream of equality. Without that sacrifice and humility of thousands, there would be no Dr. Martin Luther King, and we definitely wouldn't have this day. Even at his worst of times, when he was in that jail, there were people praying for him. Now, I know that right now we can take a lot of the civil rights for granted, as we should. But I don't think Dr. King's legacy can be taken for granted. It goes beyond civil rights, and it will reinvent itself continually. I'm thankful as that scared and confused little black boy that was laid low by abandonment, hurt and broken by racial insults, and filled with shame and self-loathing before my life even began to take shape. He showed me that one individual can make a difference. I don't have to be ashamed of my skin color or my hair texture. I'm not mulatto. I'm not mixed. I'm black. No matter how much racism and hatred I endured from that moment forward, I knew I would make it because others already had. To the young black soldier coming back from a failed mission, he helped me unclench this fist that I had made of rage and fury over the years, because I realized it could no longer hold or feel. That violence often begets violence. You have to outthink your aggressor because you cannot always outthink them. And that peace out there means peace in here. As elected official, I'll say, he's shown me that although I'm the first African American ever to hold office in the history of Southern Maryland, I've done no great thing. There are great people that believed in me. They sent me here to be their voice. I didn't get here because of my actions. I got there because of their sacrifice and their belief in me. When my knees get weak and weary, they begin to buckle because of machinations in the body politic, I realize I'm here to voice the dreams and need of thousands. We represent thousands of faceless and nameless people that are so very important. We may never meet them, never know the contributions to our success. But I know I didn't get here by myself, and I know I'm not alone. No matter what happens, there will be somebody praying for me and my success. And colleagues, you are not alone. People are working, they're thinking, and they're praying for you. They're marching alongside you, and you don't even know their names. Let that be what drives you in your darkest hour. And just know, like each one of us, and like Dr. King, you never have to be alone in your fight. Thank you.
Recognizing the majority leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I thank the gentleman from Charles County and move to have his remarks journalized.
You might want to repeat that. I don't know if people heard you. What you
Thank
said.
you, Madam Speaker, and I thank the gentleman from Charles County and move to have his remarks journalized.
All in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed? The gentleman's remarks will be journalized. That ends the work at the desk. Committee announcements. Any committee announcements? Any committee announcements?
Well, I can take the hint. The Environment and Transportation Committee will have a briefing tomorrow morning at 11 a.m.
Thank you. Any other committee? Judiciary?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, the House Judiciary Committee will not be meeting tonight.
Ways and Means.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Ways and Means Committee will not be meeting this evening.
Economic Matters.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Economic Matters will not be meeting tonight.
Health and Government and Operations.
The Health and Government Operations Committee will not be meeting tonight, but we will meet tomorrow at 1 p.m. for a briefing.
Appropriations.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. There are no announcements for Appropriations Committee tonight.
Okay. All righty. Any delegation announcements? Hearing none. Any caucus announcements? Recognizing gentleman from the Republican caucus.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Republican caucus will be meeting tomorrow morning at 8:45 a.m. in room 145. 8:45 a.m.
Okay. Recognizing the vice chair of the Democratic caucus.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Democratic caucus will be meeting tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock a.m. in the Prince George's County meeting room. Thank you.
Any personal announcements?
Madam Speaker.
Yes. Recognizing the gentleman from Prince George's.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Colleagues, we have two former colleagues in the gallery who are also great residents of my county, one being our esteemed treasurer, Derek Davis. And the other being former delegate and current state's attorney for Prince George's County, Aisha Braveboy. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Okay. Thank you. Gentleman from St. Mary's.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Permission to use the delegate's name?
Permission granted.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Friends, colleagues, I want to introduce and wish a warm birthday, happy birthday to a guy that's been long on this earth, but new to the chamber and long on this earth. He's a great last name. Everybody's friend in the chamber, Todd Morgan.
Madam Speaker.
Recognizing the gentleman from Anne Arundel.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Permission to use the delegates' names?
Permission granted.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Please join me, Delegate Chisholm, Delegate Munoz, and our senator across the way, Senator Simonaire, in welcoming the doctor of the day, my friend, Dr. Jim York of District 31. He's an orthopedic surgeon right here in Annapolis at AAMC, and he's making the district proud. He's the current president of MedChi. Welcome.
Any other personal? Gentle lady from Anne Arundel.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. An announcement for the Women's Legislative Caucus. In honor of Martin Luther King Day, we are holding a clothing drive benefiting the House of Ruth. Colleagues, you should have received a Dear Colleague letter. You can reach me either at my office or here on the floor if you need another copy. As many of you know, the House of Ruth of Maryland is a wonderful organization, and we are partnering with them in honor of Martin Luther King Day to collect women's clothing and children's clothing. So you can drop these things off at my office at 161 in the House Office Building, or the Women's Caucus room, which is in the Miller Senate Building 144. Thank you.
Any other personal announcement? Introduction of guests. Any other guests that have not been introduced, recognized? Okay. Introduction of pages. Recognizing the protocol chair to do so.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Hello, colleagues. How are you tonight? It has been a great pleasure to have these sunshines that we have right here who's been taking care of us for this short week. I want to introduce them to you, and when I call your names, I want you to step up and let them know who you are and where you're from. The first one, Jaden Burney from Montgomery County, District 17, Richard Montgomery High School. Faith Hall, Somerset County, District 38, Crestfield High School. Samar Niger, Carroll County, District 42, Gertail Academy. Brendan Riley, Anne Arundel County, District 30A, Suburban School. And lastly, Margaretta Salvatore J. Noor, Jaron. I'm going to spell it if I can't say it. Montgomery County, District 18, Northwood High School. I just want to let you know that they will be here, our sunshines. They will be here to take care of us for the rest of this week. They're going to be coming around to your districts. I want you to make them feel at home and help them and educate them and make you all have a great night. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Quorum call before adjournment.
Madam Speaker.
Has everyone recorded their presence? The clerk will take the call. There being 132 members present, the House is still in session, recognizing the Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move that the House stand adjourned until Tuesday, January 17th at 10 a.m.